What's going on, guys? Phil here from Custom Offsets TV on YouTube, and today we're bringing you the top 5 show tires. And I know you're doing math right now in your head and going, there's only 4 tires here. Yes, I'll get to that in just a minute. So to change things up a bit, we're going to start on my right-hand side, your left-hand side. This is the Fury Country Hunter MT, and you've seen it on a metric ton of show builds. This tire dominated SEMA a couple years ago. It seemed like it was on every single vehicle. We've put it on quite a few builds here. We're actually running them on our Super Duty as well. So why are these things so popular? I think they initially became very popular because of the sizes that they were offering. You know, they had 33s for 22s that some people weren't doing. Now it's more popular, but at the time it wasn't as popular. The biggest shining star right now, I think, is going to be the 33 by 14.5 R24. That's a whole lot of wheel and not a lot of tire, and that's why it becomes a very, very popular show tire. Now, this is a mud terrain tire, technically, which means you're going to see large 4-block construction. There's tons of separation on these side shoulder blocks, lots of rubber, very deep traction, aggressive sidewall. But will you actually use it to off-road? I mean, maybe, but this is going to be covering what a lot of people are putting on the show builds. And the price point on these Furies isn't really too bad either. They've been able to keep the cost down. So that's, again, why it's so popular on a lot of these show builds. And the fact that the sidewall does look very aggressive, which is nice. You're not, spending money on a cheaper tire and then having it look like an all-terrain on the side. It still carries the mud tire features throughout the entire thing. As far as drivability goes, we haven't seen very many problems on these things. We drove all the way down to Daytona on them and haven't had any abnormal wear issues, nothing like out of round, nothing out of balance. So we've been pretty happy with the performance, especially for the price you pay on the Fury Country Hunter MT. This is the Federal Explorer MTX, and Explorer is a new lineup for Federal. I actually got a chance to test out a whole bunch of their tires when I was out in California, and one of the guys actually took this MTX tire and took it off-roading, which was very, very interesting experience, and it handled just fine, I guess, for what we were doing. But this is not an off-road tire. It has MT in the name, but I don't think I would take this through the mud. There's also an S, and it's a hybrid tire, so then you're like, okay, MT, S, mud tire, snow maybe? No, this is mud tire and show tire. So although this has very, very large tread blocks, it has very, very deep grooves like a mud tire would have that you see on the other ones here also, it has a directional V pattern to it as well, which is something that you don't see on a mud tire. The shoulder blocks actually extend over the side, and it has this like centipede looking kind of claw digging pattern going on, which is very, very unique. And this is something that's brand new to the tire market. There hasn't been anybody before that like straight up came out and said, hey, this is for show vehicles, this is for mall crawlers, this is for trucks that don't actually go off of the pavement. And I applaud Federal for doing that. It's a very bold move. I got a chance to talk to their CEO, the guy who runs everything, and he was an awesome guy. Jamie's a really interesting guy to talk to, has a lot of stories, and he designs a lot of these tires himself, always from some sort of childhood memory or something like that. So that's why he wanted to build something that's almost Transformers looking to it. So it's got a lot of interesting design elements going on, but this is primarily designed for street use. So you'll see there is no siping on this entire tire, no small little cuts put into the tread blocks, just these deep tread grooves so you can shed water out of them, but not going to be an actual off-road tire. The smallest size they make this in is a 35, but then they go all the way up to 42 by 15.5 R24. So if you have a massive show build and you're never going to take it off the road, this might be a tire for you to consider. That thing's f***ing sick. It's a dropped crew cab cat eye on GMC rep wheels. Moving on to the next one, the third one in the lineup here, we have the Atturo Trailblade MT. So Atturo has an entire lineup of tires, anywhere from street tires to a super aggressive off-road tire, the Trailblade Boss. But this is the MT, and the reason why it ends up in the show tire video is primarily because of the price point. Atturo has been making very affordable tires for quite a few years now. We've ran them on a few of our own personal vehicles, and I think for the price you pay, they make a decent tire, and it also looks very aggressive. Same kind of thing is when you buy a mud tire for a show build that you want to look aggressive, you need this aggressive sidewall. You need these large shoulder blocks, this massive separation on the side, and then the center part is just got all these sharp angles on it that just make it look like a very nice tire, and it doesn't perform half bad either. As far as sizes goes, they make this thing for literally pretty much any application, from stock size tires all the way up to massive lifted show trucks. So if you are shopping for your vehicle, I can almost guarantee you that there is a Trailblade MT out there that's going to fit your application. One thing to note is that these tires do tend to run a little bit narrower, which is probably why they're a little bit more affordable, slightly less material there. This is a 35 by 12.5 mounted on a 20 by 10, so you can see that there is a little bit of sidewall protection, but it's nearly vertical as compared to the next tire on the list. We'll take a look at that one next. Fourth tire in front of me here, this is the Toyo Open Country MT. Not only a good show vehicle tire, but a good tire to drive on as well. So this one has a very, very recognizable tread pattern. When people see you've got this tire, they know you're running Toyos, and Toyo's just associated with being a higher end tire. Them and Nitto being sister companies, they're right up there. The tires are made in the United States, which is another really great thing. So I think this kind of just goes with more high caliber builds. If you're running the higher end suspension, higher end wheels, and you want to go with a higher end tire, the Toyo Open Country MT is a good choice for that. I think it's probably slightly ironic to some people that we picked mud tires for the show tire build category, but just being honest with everybody, that's what everybody runs on the show builds, because you can't put an all-terrain tire on a truck that's got an 8-inch lift. It just doesn't look right. So if you are looking for mud tires that you can still drive on every day, if you're still going to drive your truck a lot, the Toyo Open Country MTs are a good option for you. And you can see this is a 35 12.5, and it runs pretty much true to size, almost slightly bigger than true to size. So 35 tall, 10.5 inch wide. This one's mounted on a 10-inch wide wheel. You can see that there's plenty of rubber on the side of the Open Country MT. Then for the next tire, we actually have to jump outside because Bailey stole them and put them on his truck. This is Bailey's truck. If you want to donate $1 to the car wash fund we're starting, you can let us know in the comments. So next on the list then is the AMP Terrain Attack MT. So this tire, again, very popular on show builds simply because it's a lot more affordable than all the other tires that you'll find on the market. I really like this long swooping tread block they have on the end. So this is a 35 by 13.5 R24, I believe. I gotta look. R24. So you can see that they are making these show tire sizes a little bit wider for really big wheels, so you don't have to stretch them quite so much. I'm glad that phase is slowly starting to die. I think straight up and down sidewall is about the skinniest that I would go. So that's the Mud Terrain Attack MT. Otherwise, it's like every other MT tire. I'm not going to get super in-depth on like the driving characteristics of these, other than saying we've ran them on our personal vehicles. If we run them on our vehicles, I don't know that there's any reason why you wouldn't want to run them on yours as well. So if you want full reviews on all of these, we've done videos on pretty much all of them, I'm pretty sure. So you can find the lineup for the entire brand lineup on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CustomOffsetsTV. Otherwise, if you want to check out these tires, figure out what sizes they have available for you, you can go to CustomOffsets.com, or we'll just put the links right in the description, so you just click on it. Super easy. Peace.